It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.
Hey, welcome to the Really Charlie Podcast. And tonight we're going to be holistically speaking with Brandon Soares. This man, I've been proud of him since he was a little kid, and I am so happy to have him on my podcast. It took us about a year, and then somebody mysteriously requested him, and I said, let me get on this, and that was perfect, because I contacted Brandon and he said, yep, I can do it. And here he is, just a few days later, and we're on the Really Charlie Podcast. What's going on, man?
Man, same old, man. Just work.
Yeah,
Life.
just work. Yeah, definitely. Here in the Northeast, it's pretty cold, and oh man, I think this was the worst day of the year right now, of the winter. So I kind of froze today, man.
I hear that.
Yeah. So holistically speaking, let me put something here on the screen. All right. This was kind of perfect what this lady says. So I'm gonna add it to the screen real quick.
In my research, I found that everything that we call holistic, from Reiki to polarity to astrology to reflexology to aromatherapy to hydrotherapy, healing baths to color therapy, it's all based on African culture, which we call New Age, but it's from antiquity. So that builds up your self-esteem. That's our stuff. Give me back my stuff. In my research.
That was almost perfect, man, because it's so true, man. I have some friends at work, and they're definitely into a lot of holistic things, and just trying to tell me that, you know what, your ancestors, they did a lot of things right, and one of the things they did was take care of their body, and she said that this American food is gonna kill you, and sure enough, man, I started taking this tea, and man, I started feeling good within about 2 weeks. I was really feeling better, and so anyway, so there's a lot of truth in that video, and I really truly believe that it does work. So
100%. Trust me, I can dive into my own experiences as well as
let's do that,
a little bit of knowledge, even when it comes to those things. Even when it comes to like just teas, herbs, apothecary, energy work, like Reiki, stuff like that. Like a lot of people don't realize that I actually started taking classes to do Reiki
nice.
years back. So I'm in the process of finishing that now, but in addition to the many things that I have going on, but yeah, people don't realize the benefits and like the history behind it.
Yeah, it's one thing I've noticed with a few of my friends, and some of the things that they were doing is I haven't seen them in a while, and the reason why I haven't seen them in a while, because it was things that we were doing that were kind of bad habits for them, whether it's drinking or eating the wrong foods, or basically I wasn't in the gym. I still not in the gym, but they were in the gym and doing calisthenics and physically trying to get fit, and it was all part of the program. Why don't you talk to me about your diet and how that's helped you? Because you come from a culture where some of the foods
Right.
we eat are very routine, and there's no getting out of it, because the household you're in, you may be, or certain people just may not be on the journey that you're on, and they're gonna kind of continue what they're doing. So, talk to me about that first. Just a diet, just your diet and how you
Yeah. So
basically you said
I
whole
got you.
food diet, whole food diet. Talk to me about that. Can you hear me, Brandon?
I'm
You
not
all
sure if
set?
you can hear me. I think you may have froze, man. But I can
Yeah,
answer your question if you can hear me.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think I can hear you. I think it may have just lagged a little bit. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah. Just
You can hear
just
me?
go
All
ahead
right.
and yeah,
So
just go ahead and talk.
so
Go
pretty
ahead.
much I've been all right, you hear me now? All right. Nah, pretty much what I was saying is that I've been vegan for about like since 2019. So I've been doing that. That's pretty much been my lifestyle. Even though I've been vegan for since 2019, I haven't eaten meat since 2018. So the year prior to that. Um, and I've kind of just more I had like health issues at the time. That's kind of how I even got into just being more mindful of what I put into my body and really just paying closer attention. Even like started off by doing like a food journal, like little things that would like trigger the issues that I was having. Uh, in addition to, like I said, just pretty much just being more mindful, which I'll get into all the other stuff in a minute. But um, but yeah, it started up around that time, and like I said, it really stemmed from health issues. And I've never been the type of person to take medication. I've always kind of been like anti-medication, so I was like, what can I do holistically or naturally where I can still um, overcome some of these health issues while still bettering myself overall as a man, or just like just really just bettering my body and trying to reap the benefits from that. That's really how it started.
Mm, mm. What so as you get started, um, was there a was there a regret at any point for you?
Um, I wouldn't say it was really regret. Kind of goes into what you were asking before, like just like the culture that we come from, and just even going to my grandmother's house, my father's mother's house, and even when I first started going over there, there's certain things I couldn't eat no more. I couldn't eat like cachupa no more. I couldn't eat pastels no more. There's certain things I just couldn't eat. So it was definitely a challenge at first, but I knew what the mission was, and I'm the type of person where as soon as I set my mind to something, that's it. That's it. As tough as it
Mm,
may be, if I know it's for the greater good, I gotta I gotta stick with it.
cool, cool. Um, Talked about vitamins and minerals. What are some of the things that you're taking?
Um, I mean, I do take a lot of herbs, which I can touch upon that after I answer your question. I try to take a multivitamin, preferably one that has a full complex of things. Like
Hmm.
obviously just like the main vitamins, as well as a full B complex, for nerve, and other issues. For people that deal with mental health, like anxiety, another type of like nervous like issues, vitamin B complex is definitely very beneficial to take. So if you can take a multivitamin where you're getting everything else you need in terms of vitamins and minerals, and you add a B complex to that, you're pretty much good overall. It also, in addition to try to get in like some type of like fish oil, like a omega 3, 6, 9, whatever the case may be. Obviously, me being vegan, I don't do fish oil, but there's always
Mm,
alternatives to everything because God and nature always provide. So for people that don't mind the fish oils and they can fit that in their diet, I would definitely recommend like I think it's called a EHA. Am I saying that
mm,
right? I think it's a
mm,
EH. let me see, because I have it. EPA, that's what it is. EPA and DHA,
Hmm.
omega 3, 6, 9, whatever fatty acid. Uh, for those that don't mind eating fish or anything like that, or getting it from a source like an animal source. But for like my vegans and my vegetarians and stuff like that, you can just take like black seed oil. And I came across that years ago, probably around like 2016.
Hmm.
I came across that, and that's just another way that you can get your omega fatty acids without it coming from an animal source.
Awesome. The some of the things that I like, as we talked off air, and you mentioned about mediation and breath work, or is it breathing work? What is that? That tell me about the is it controlling your breathing?
Yeah, so it was so meditation and breath work. So in terms of breath work, there's many different types of breathing exercises or practicing different breathing techniques that you can try. Um, the ones that I have three that I really have really like honed in on over the years. And I can actually go over those right now because I have them written down. Um,
Okay.
the first one is going to be pretty much just diaphragmatic breathing, which obviously is technically the proper way to breathe, which is technically breathing from your stomach or your belly. They call it belly breathing.
Hmm.
Breathing properly from your belly, in through your nose, out through your mouth, but it's strictly uh, focus on your belly rising and your chest obviously staying where it is. Because a lot of people breathe improperly just with the overall stresses of life. A lot of people go into like that flight or fright or panic mode, and they tend to breathe from their chest, which is improper, and that actually can cause a lot of issues in the long run. In addition to obviously lack of oxygen. So obviously, when you practice different breathing techniques, it's beneficial to not only help you to breathe properly and do that more consistently, but um, like I said, there's just a lot of benefits to that. Uh, but there's that one. The next one would be um, alternate nostril breathing, which
Mm.
I always explain that. People are like, what is that? So pretty much it's like this. If I was to block my nose on this side, I inhale, I hold, and then I go to the other side and I breathe out the other side. So it's going in one, out the other, and then I alternate, and then I stay on this side, in, go back to the other one, out, and I do rounds of that, and that
Mm.
kind of like balances out like your I guess yeah, I guess that's just the easiest way to say it. It just balances out your breathing on fully from both sides. So like when you do it with each side, like the brain is starting to focus on each side,
Mm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, does make sense. I mean, even
And
even with our legs and arms, if we tend to use one more than the other, one gets stronger than the other. And it may be the same thing with your nostrils, your lungs. That's just an educated guess, So, but I can understand that breathing technique. The You mentioned about mindfulness. Is that
yeah, most definitely.
mindfulness through everything that you're trying to accomplish, or is that mindfulness for to keep your mental uh, being stable or strengthening a little bit? Tell me more about mindfulness. What are you kind of concentrating when you
Yeah,
say
so I mean,
you?
it kind of it's pretty much kind of like what you explained it. Yeah,
Um,
yeah. So pretty much mindfulness is pretty much the best way I can explain it is it's a psychological practice that requires you to be in the present moment. Um, it forces you to be in the present moment and being expecting of what is going on in your life, your surroundings, pretty much with no worries or judgment. It kind of just forces you to just be in the moment and just focus on everything around you. You can be mindful overall. You can be mindful in everything that you do, whether it be walking, eating, even through meditation and breath work, prayer. There's so many ways in which you can just be mindful and be present in the moment, and there's so many benefits to doing so.
Hmm, very good. Um, Brandon, I want to let you know that we are on Facebook Live. We are also on LinkedIn, and we're on YouTube. I also want to say hello to everyone out there. Um, Jack, I see you out there. Michael, I see you. Constantly on the Really Charlie podcast and trying to support us. So I really appreciate everyone listening to myself and Brandon in getting educated. And if you have any questions, feel free to just add it in the comment section, and I will gladly put it on the screen, and maybe myself or Brandon can answer it. Um, the Brandon, sometimes what happens is as you do different things, we do different things in life. We pick up things, we pick up people. As far as hey, you know, uh, they're doing all right. And you kind of build. You end up being a mentor just by some of the things you're doing, and what you're doing, everything um, holistically. I'm pretty sure you are mentoring someone because they watched you. Eh, Can you tell me a story about someone kind of wanting to do this just because of you're doing it and you're doing it very well?
Yeah. So I mean, it kind of broke up. What was your question?
Who, because you're doing this, someone might have caught it,
Yeah.
right? And who has someone picked this up just because you're doing it and you became a mentor of them?
Um, in terms of people that I've come across,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe this will answer your question. I mean, a lot of people that I've worked with. I mean, I've played many different roles. I've wore many different hats in my life in general, between my personal life as well as work. I've been a mentor and a case manager. I've been in human services for years, for years. Uh, I can go back into one particular um, moment when I was working with a kid when I used to work at Child and Family, and he was very much into health and wellness, uh, mainly to play sports. But he was saying how similar to me a few years prior to that, he was very interested in just like keeping it more holistic, keeping it more organic, and how he could take care of his body, what supplements to take, vitamins, minerals, diet, whatever the case may be. And I created a little plan for him and a little list of different herbs and stuff like that that he would probably benefit from based off of the things that he was going through. And he utilized it, and he definitely got back to me and told me about how beneficial it was. And obviously, I stressed how consistency, number one, is important. In addition to give like taking the time, like giving it time, like nothing happens overnight. Like even if you're doing and taking these herbs and you're changing your diet, like over time you're gonna reap the benefits, you're gonna see it. But it takes time. Like people think I can go on a diet, I'm gonna expect to just lose weight or my body's just gonna change in a matter of a few days to a week, and that's not realistic. So he was even though young, he was definitely mature and receptive enough to what I had to say, and he put everything into action. He was consistent with it, and he thanked me just for giving him the knowledge and just like I guess you could say just putting him on to game about certain things. So I mean, I've
Yeah.
definitely done that in a lot of areas with a lot of different people between coworkers and stuff. So I definitely reached a good amount of people. I like to think.
Awesome. The Derek Consatio says, "My guy Brandon." I love Decon. He's definitely comes from great stock,
Right.
great family, and
Most
I
definitely.
yeah, and also someone I know very well. She says, "I'm so proud of you."
Yeah,
Um,
I wonder who that is.
oh
I think you
yeah,
know her.
yeah, yeah. She's
And I
you
appreciate
know,
that, Miss Perry. I appreciate that.
yeah, yeah. She's definitely Mrs. Perry. She's the boss, as I call her. as we call her. And we also have Gigi Cosmo, and she says, you have reached family as well, and that's good, So especially, family see things, and you may be at a certain stage, and then they see how gradually you turn into something better for yourself physically, mentally, and so when they see that, and when everyone wants some proof in the pudding, they want some kind of you got to have some, no theory without practice. You got to practice it, and you practiced it, and now people are asking questions, like Gail, myself, and so you keep up the good work, because I noticed you were doing very well.
I appreciate
Um,
it, man, for sure.
yeah. Let's talk about sleep hygiene.
Thank you. Hmm.
Brandon, you want to talk about sleep hygiene?
Yeah, I got you. So pretty much what sleep hygiene is pretty much just overall having a good sleep routine, uh, in all aspects, whether it be the time that you go to sleep, the consistency with that, trying to go to sleep at the same time every day. Um, Obviously, let's say brushing your teeth, like doing your whole nightly routine, having that, like there's different things that you want to do in order to have good sleep hygiene. I can go over some like do's and don'ts for sleep hygiene if you. I can go over that quickly if you don't mind. I can do
Sure.
it
Go
fast.
ahead. Do it.
Uh, so I had some written down for this specific show. Some do's for good sleep hygiene is obviously, like I said, go to bed at the same time every day, get up at the same time every day, uh, keep electronics away from your bed, uh, keep the room at a cool temperature, roughly around like 68 degrees. Because for some reason, like having that little coolness to it helps you sleep better. Ironically, some people obviously like the heat. It's just I always tell people around 68 degrees. That means if even if you go a little bit above, because that's more comfortable for you, then you do that. Um, Keep the room as dark as possible. Obviously, like no, try to avoid as much light coming in as possible, whether it be from LED lights, even if it's from like the sunlight of your curtains. I always recommend try to get like blackout curtains. Personally, that's what I have. It helps me to sleep. My quality of sleep has definitely improved from getting those. Um, so yeah, electronics keep the room dark. Um, Even if that means you got to do some meditation and breath work to calm your body, like calm down your central nervous system. Do it that way. That's definitely a do. As well as just overall, just making sure your bedroom environment is as comfortable as possible, and make sure that it fits what you're trying to do, and make sure it fits you as a person. Some
Awesome.
don'ts would be eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, because obviously if you do, anything you add into your body, anything you add into your system, once you start to reactivate that digestive system, your body is now no longer in rest mode. Your body is now in working mode. Think of it like a machine. I'm putting something into it. Now it's starting to run. So 2 to 3 hours before bed, try to eat nothing, especially no stimulants like no coffee, no caffeine, which caffeine can come from coffee, chocolate, sodas, caffeinated teas, uh, a lot of different things. So you got to be mindful of that. Um, no blue lights. So like in terms of like blue light from like your phone, a
Hmm.
screen, TV, laptop, um, no video games, like nothing that's gonna really like stimulate your mind too much. Like no listening to like music that you would listen to during the day. Like nothing that's gonna hype you up, like music that people listen to go to the gym. Like you don't want to listen to any of that before you go to sleep. Um, so yeah, no stimulants and just my biggest thing I always tell people, and I this is the last thing. Do not take your problems to bed. Try
Mm.
to whatever it is that you got going on in your life, whatever you had going on that day, try to address it at a reasonable time, like throughout your day, even if it's right after work, whenever you have that time, even if it's through your meditation, just make sure you're going to sleep with a clear mind, with a clear head, and with a clear heart. Because if I can get all those things situated before I lay down, the better quality I'll have for my own sleep. So those usually my top 5, 6, 7 do's and don'ts
Awesome.
for sleep hygiene.
Good to know. Good to know. Um, let's see. We have Michael Santos, MBA, on LinkedIn. He says that Brandon is doing a great job mentoring and advocating for the youth of the
Yeah.
greater New Bedford area.
Michael,
That's
man, I'd be lying if I said I expected him on here, but I appreciate that. Yeah, I work with him. He's the CEO at the company.
that's awesome. You know
Yeah,
what
so I
that
appreciate that.
he could be doing a lot of things right now, and he came to watch you and listen to you, and
He's
that's
a
a
busy
great thing.
man, so I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
this your constant supporter here, saying you have been an inspiration to me, and I'm proud of you.
Mom
The
Dukes. I appreciate it. I
Mama
love her too.
Mama Duke, she's
Sure.
you definitely raised by a good woman and good man. Your whole family, man, they've done a great job with you, and you are now doing everything you learned, everything you were taught,
Mhm.
and I like that.
I appreciate it, man.
Gail,
Appreciate
Gail
it.
Gonzalez says, "What about drinking water before bed?"
Um, I would. I mean, personally, I don't think I've ever really got too deep into that because I always keep some type of water next to my bed because you wake up in the middle of the night. Sometimes you be parched. So I mean, I always
Hmm.
do a little something. Personally, like I said, all the things that I'm saying are just things that I know are helpful. Doesn't mean you can't bend the rules a little bit because at the end of the day, everybody's body is different for the most part. Everything I say isn't gonna work for everybody exactly the same way. So it's like I don't think water isn't gonna necessarily hurt. I mean, unless you don't want to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, then I would say no water for that case.
Hmm.
But
Yeah,
other than that, I don't think that's too much of an issue.
yeah. And water tends to bring some energy or get your body going a little bit. So
Mhm.
going to bed.
Actually, on the topic of water, I want to say this before I forget.
Hmm.
On the topic of water, I know we talked about like vitamins and minerals and stuff like that. I didn't dive too deep into it, but I can give you guys a little gem. That's actually beneficial. Um,
Sure.
one thing I can say in regards to that is this: every single person needs about 12 to 15 essential minerals. There's different types of minerals. There's macro minerals and there's trace minerals. Macros are the ones that you need the most of. Trace minerals are like the ones I guess you could say that aren't. I mean, they're all still essential. They're all still needed, but you don't need as much as you do for the macro minerals. I can actually give you a little uh, explanation with that as well.
Sure. Go
Um,
ahead.
so macro minerals would be like the calciums, the magnesiums, sodiums, potassiums, and phosphorus. Trace minerals would be like the selenium, iron, copper, zinc, iodine, and manganese, like different things, like different type of minerals. Those are just examples of each. Um, my little hack that I like to tell people is speaking of water, if you add a pinch, about a third of a teaspoon, I guess you'd say, like a little pinch of either Celtic sea salt, Himalayan pink sea salt, or one that I actually just learned about recently. It's called Baja Gold. That's the brand. Baja Gold sea salt. If you add a pinch or like a third of a teaspoon to about 8 to 10 ounces of water, and you do that the first thing off a wake up, you'll hydrate and what's what I'm looking for? Mineralize
Mm,
your body for the day. You get all that you need for that day.
very nice. I like that.
Yeah,
Um,
start your day off right.
yeah, we got Lizzie Liz saying hi, Charlie. Hey, Primo. This is
Cuz how you doing?
yeah, I would love that girl.
For
She's
sure.
aces, definitely aces. So glad. We get a question on the comment section from Derek, and he says, obviously everybody's bedtime is different. Does it matter?
I mean, it really depends on your lifestyle. I mean, some people work third shift. I mean, you can't go to bed at 8, 9, 10 at night, whatever the case may be, or 7 for some people. I mean, it really just depends on uh your work life or just like your personal life in general. Um, I guess I would say is try to just be as consistent with your schedule, regardless of what that may be. That's possible, and still to do all those different things and take upon those different tips that I gave. That would be my advice because, like I said, everybody works different shifts. I've worked first, second, and third shift in my life, and I've been all over the place many times. It's really just finding
Mm,
a balance. Uh, no matter what it is, food, diet, sleep, anything. It's really just about finding a balance for your life. These are just the different things that you can just add to your life in those areas. That'll be beneficial.
exactly. And Decon says, "Thank you, thank you for the
Anytime,
comment."
man.
Yeah, that's there's one thing I like about the podcast is people commenting and interacting. It definitely is it's special because it everyone has joined us tonight, right, including yourself. There's other things you guys could be doing, and you're here, and I really truly appreciate it, and it just makes the podcast that much rewarding and um okay let's see, Brandon, anything you want to talk about?
I mean, I can anything that has to do with health and wellness, I can talk about, man. It's just
All right.
at least within my own experience. I
Yeah.
mean, it's really. Let me see. I can try to come up with another one. What
See.
haven't we touched upon? I mean, I'm big on herbs and like apothecary. I'm big on that.
Hmm, yeah, it's funny you say that. I've been watching this show, these skits. They go flashing over the internet, Instagram, Facebook, and it talks about you know uh just the experience of pills and the young man, his name is Kevin. He talks about power pills and everything, and being a apothecary, and he just it's just amazing how that's just something for entertainment, but it's also educational because you start wondering, when they mention all the different herbs and what they're doing and why they're doing it, and it actually got me paying attention a little bit and doing some research on the internet. And not that you can believe everything on the internet, you have to make sure you get something that's reparable. Um, so let me this Derek has a comment. He says, "Hey Charlie, I seen Coach O comment. Please let him know that I said thank you for the book and I love it." Yes, I will do that. D. I actually got to talk to him this week, so I will give him the message. Um, that's Derek Consatio from Straight to the Point podcast on WNB1 Radio every Thursday at 6 o'clock, and that's on WNB1 Radio, and they get into it real deep about sports, and it's one of my favorite sports programs because I like listening to them. Not only are they, three of my friends, um, but I like how they go back and forth, and it's the craziest thing is that their arguments always kind of reflects back to football and how successful their football teams are. And you just know, I anticipate something's going to happen, especially with the week that goes on, and so it's pretty good, and I love it. Actually, when their teams are playing, I like to instigate a little bit, kind of get them going, in our group chats and stuff. But definitely a great show. I see we're flickering on and off, so all right, let's see if we can one thing I wanna talk to you about is that as you go through this journey, what do you think you can add? What can you add for yourself?
Me personally,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many different things. Like to be honest, even though I've been doing it for so long, I feel like I've only scratched the surface, man. to be
Mm,
completely honest with you, because even with all these tips that I'm giving you, like I'm still finding balance with them all. Uh, I mean, one thing I always learned from even when I first learned about health and wellness, I used to always hear, no matter whether it was, no matter what book it was, no matter what documentary it was, no matter what podcast I would be watching, they always said that your body changes every 7 years.
mm,
So even what I was doing 7 years ago isn't necessarily going to work the same, or at
yeah,
least not everything is going to work the same way um, as it may today. So I try to just continue this. I just try to continue to be mindful and just self aware with everything I got going on,
good, good.
as well as yeah, it's pretty much
One thing that I like doing is, personally, I write books, right?
right.
Um, are you keeping a journal? Because I think eventually you could write something, right? There's 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 things out there, very, very short books, from 50 to 75 pages long,
Hmm.
and they're very accurate, but they're also making a lot of money. So I want you to keep on journaling your stuff.
For sure.
Journal, journal your journey along the way because it's very important. And when you start thinking about putting it in a book form, you have many people around you, starting from me, starting from Gail.
Hmm.
You have a lot of people that could kind of put that on the shelf for you, even if it's just an ebook. Ebooks are easy, and people like everything accessible on their phone, right? An ebook,
Hmm.
you can boom, and now you have your book on your phone. So that's just one of the recommendations or advice I can give you is to don't sell yourself short with your journey because you may help someone else even though you're doing it verbally. Somebody
Hmm.
may want something right in front and center, and so please take my advice and do that.
It's funny that you say that because I'll give everybody like a little exclusive that I've actually been working on a book for the past year. I've been
Mm,
writing it for the past year. It's not even close to being where I want it to be, but it's pretty much a memoir about uh, a certain part of my life. Not like my whole
mm.
life as a whole, but just like one specific event. And I've been writing that for the past year. And like I said, it's getting there, but it's not done yet. So I'll keep you in the loop with that for sure.
Yeah, actually, you know what? That's weird that I brought this up because just by you talking, it's deja vu that you did mention that to me before, and
I may have,
yeah,
yeah, I may have
yeah, I'm glad you're on it.
for sure.
The so Brandon, this is
Mhm.
a question I ask everybody towards the tail end of the podcast, and my question to you is, who would you like to see on the Really Charlie podcast?
What I like to see,
Hmm.
hmm. You know what's funny? I have a friend named Bria. Some people may be familiar with her. She moved to Atlanta, but she's originally from here. Um, Me and her have conversations about this stuff and just mindfulness, health, wellness, uh, financial freedom, just like financial literacy. Like we have a lot of like in depth and intellectual conversations. So I can definitely run that by her because she works in the health field. So she has a whole different perspective, even though ours are very similar. She brings more of that holistic approach to her mentorship, to her case management, to her just to the health field in itself. So like she can definitely give you similar but a different point of view
Mm.
on a lot of things. So that would be a dope conversation. So I can definitely
Yeah,
run that by her.
yeah, please do. And
I got
it's it's funny you mentioned ATL, and I have a good following down there, and the Atlanta's Writers Club, and they definitely have been following me based on some of the membership being on this podcast, and so that would be great, to have her on and just talk about it, and you know and just let's do it. Your request. I mean, someone requested you to be on air, and you're here. So based on your request, I want to have that happen, especially if she's willing to do it. So we'll make that happen.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep you in the loop, even if you want to just be solely her, or even if you want me to come back on with her. Either way, we can make it happen.
Whatever makes her comfortable,
I
and
got you.
she may say, "Look, I want it to be a tandem, and so let's do it." And that's fine. We just do what we're doing right now.
I got you.
The I I have a couple of things that I'm doing with some of my books, and you kind of inspired something. I think I'm gonna write about something um about our conversation today, and so I'm gonna do that, and just try to gather what I can, and then put it in writing, and see what happens.
Sounds good.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Anything else on your bucket list?
Uh, in general, or like
Yeah, in
short term, by
general.
the end of the year. I got a few things. I got a few things I want to do. I mean, I definitely want to finish that book. Or at least get closer enough to finishing it. I have like about like 4 or 5 chapters completed. Uh,
Mm.
so I definitely want to really hone in and put more time in on that. Um, Me and Gail talked about a few things which I won't speak on yet,
Mm-hmm.
but we talked about a few things. So there's some things in the works with that. Um, Hmm. I mean, honestly, man, even when it comes down to personal things, I mean, there's so many things I want to do.
Yeah.
Uh, but as time goes on, I'll share more with you because there's a lot of moves I want to make that uh that's gonna require some time, some
Yeah.
things for for the city. Obviously, being able to work in the city and being a case manager, a mentor, working for Mass Hire, uh, with Mike. Uh, yeah, there's a lot of things I would like to present to them that'll be very beneficial for a lot of inner city youth. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. So I'll keep you in tune for sure.
All right. I'm very proud of that, and glad you're doing that. Now we you know, looking at you, and I know you'll get it done, and not everything's successful, right? So what we do is, and when we have our failures, we kind of move on, and come back to it or revisit it, but it's definitely something I have more than enough confidence that you will get most of your things done.
I appreciate it, man. One thing I
Yeah.
always tell people is passion and determination will outweigh fear any day. So I mean, everybody has a fear of failing to an extent. Especially if you're real passionate about something. Like some people are perfectionists, so it's like I definitely have a vision for so many different things. So until that comes out into fruition, it doesn't matter how long it takes me. It's gonna happen. That's just
Mm.
that's just my mindset. And I'm big on manifestation, and I've been telling my mother this for years. Like every single thing that I've manifested in the last like 6 years has came true.
Mm.
So
Very nice.
trust me. Yeah, it's it's just in due time, man. Whenever God allows me to do it, it'll be there.
Exactly. Prayer works.
Hundred
Prayer
percent,
does work, and
100%.
pride and determination definitely helps it out. The All right, man. I definitely have you as you were always a friend, but it's a little bit different than that with you and I. We're more of a family. There's just so much connection between us and our families that
100%.
you know, calling you a friend just sells me short, sells us short. So I want to say, my brother, you keep up the good work, and you are making many, many people proud inside and outside your family. So keep on doing the great work, and you you kind of if you can do your job with Bria, I definitely am not paying you because my income here at the Really Charlie
Man,
podcast is very limited.
man, even if you paid people, I still would have did it for free, man. You like you say, man,
I know.
family, even family is an understatement, man. I've known you since I was a
Exactly.
kid. So I mean, trust me, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's no problem. I appreciate all the uplifting and positive words from everybody, from you, just you give me the opportunity to go on your platform and speak my piece, give a little bit of people some insight, some knowledge, some tips. But like I said, I'm grateful for you, your family, and everybody on here that tuned in. So thank you for that.
Awesome. Michael Santos says, maintain a growth mindset, and never a failure, always an opportunity to grow.
100%.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Santos. I appreciate you. And all right. Well, everyone, we are here on Facebook Live, LinkedIn, YouTube, occasionally on Spotify and Instagram. And my fabulous guest here, Brandon Soares, that talked to us holistically and definitely educated us. And I also want to bring this comment up here. Mrs. Perry says she's only a phone call away, and we are only a phone call away.
Much
And I
love.
want, yeah, please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel, Really Charlie Podcast. And I'm here every Tuesday night, usually around 6:30 to 7:30. All depends on the guests. Some people get home late, so we got to give them time to wind down and eat, and then come on the podcast. But 7:30 is that ideal time. So that's where you can look for me. I well advertise my podcast on all the channels, so our platforms. And feel free if you want to come on the Really Charlie podcast, send me a message directly. Um, and my email is reallycharliepodcast@gmail.com. All right, Brandon, you're the man. You keep it up.
Nah, man, you're the man. I got you, man. I appreciate it again.
All right. Love you, man.
Love you too, bro.
And I'm going to end this podcast with my favorite song by Lionel Peter Walker, another great mentor in the city. And
Thanks.
and I'll talk to you later. Good luck, man.
Hey, likewise, man.
God bless.
Bless.
Take care.
It's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yo, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Yeah, it's the Really Charlie Podcast. Bump into your broadcast, grab a chair, fill your glass.